What's up, board game people? We're coming up on an interesting week in crowdfunding, and there are so many projects in the middle of fulfillment that it's getting next to impossible to keep up. Hopefully, I can help out a little with that, and we can find a few interesting gems in the news. Let's see. I don't get any money from game companies for making my videos. There are quite a few projects wrapping up their runs on crowdfunding this week. On Kickstarter, first we have LaCluck's Revenge, which is funded and is very close to its 100k stretch goal to unlock the Hook the Cook boss fight. This campaign offers access to both LaCluck's Revenge and the Cult of Barnacle Bay. The project has only 4 days remaining. The Last of Us Escape the Dark has a little over 2 weeks remaining in their run, and they've raised just over $500,000. Late last week, they revealed the Bill miniature, complete with his gas mask. Not too much more has been said about the game yet. Hopefully, when they break their silence this week, we'll learn more about the game. The Queen's Dilemma is coming to an end in just over a day. They're sitting at just south of $650,000 in funding for a project with no stretch goals. The game's cult following seems to be growing in numbers, and the Queen's Dilemma appears to be a worthy successor to the throne. Thinning Veil is sitting just under $70,000 in funding of their $176,000 funding goal. They recently released the first female character in the Hero Pack 3, the Enchantress. Hero Pack 4 was released today and includes 2 more females, the Seer and the Shadow Dancer. The Thinning Veil has a little over 2 weeks remaining in its run. Oathsworn Into the Deepwood's reprint campaign has had an amazing run on Kickstarter and is approaching the $3 million mark, at which it will be revealing and unlocking another stretch goal. There's less than a day in the campaign, so if you've been waiting, it's now or never. Quatro City, the mystery game wooden puzzle, will be wrapping up its time on crowdfunding today as well. It sits just south of $200,000 in funding and has unlocked several of its stretch goals, so there's still 1 day left to get in on the fun. Superdark on Kickstarter just broke $17,000 and is funded. This social deduction game aims to keep the game going, engaging, and fun even after the suspect parties are identified. You throw your support behind candidates while the super PACs do their best to corrupt them. You must keep the super PACs from corrupting more than half the pool of candidates to win. The game may be about politics, a subject I attempt to avoid, but politics is just the theme. The game lying underneath is a fantastic take on social deduction with twists and turns on every round. This game would make a solid party game too, as it hosts 5 to 8 players. Check it out at the link in the video description. Finally, Unconscious Mind from the creators of Endless Winters is having a spectacular run on Kickstarter, bringing in over $625,000 in funding. They've unlocked 22 of their Bright Idea stretch goals, with reference booklets and nightmare research cards on the horizon. Hopefully, I'll find the time to push out a full guide on this one soon. On Backerkit, Spirit Island Nature Incarnate has just 3 days left and recently eked past the $1 million mark. Coming up this week on crowdfunding, we'll be seeing another wave of great projects. On Kickstarter, we'll see Werewolf the Apocalypse, Retaliation, Project EOS Rise, Heroes of Might and Magic 3, and Dark Venture, the reprint and expansion. And now for some crowdfunding updates. It's officially the Pledge Manager opening time for Dungeon Universalis. The Pledge Manager they're using is Kick and Go, which I see is becoming more and more popular these days. Backers should have received emails inviting them to complete the Pledge Manager. If they didn't, you can head over to Kick and Go and access the Pledge Manager using your email. Late backing is also open on Kick and Go, but you'll find the prices have raised slightly from those on Kickstarter. On the development front, they're testing and retesting scenarios from the Under the Cities campaign, with both human and AI Dark players. Company of Heroes wants to offer some words of thanks to everyone who offered condolences for Chris's passing or helped in the GoFundMe to cover costs. They're working through everything that needs to be done for the project. Timelines are being analyzed. They hope to present updated information on the game production in a week or 2. BGC thanks everyone for their patience. Shippy McShipface, the new nickname for the Gatekeeper, wants the maggots to know that he worked very hard to even out or lower shipping costs across the board. He gave us an updated shipping cost chart and mumbled something about choking on it as he wandered out the door. We got a big update from Earth Under Siege Flashpoint this week. First off, the Pledge Manager will be closing sometime in January to avoid charging cards during the holidays. That's an awesome move. The delay of closing is due to them needing accurate weights and box sizes to get shipping calculations correct. They're offering some options for feedback on the stretch goals box. The ask is whether we would like one big box to store the core and stretch goals together, or two separate boxes. For me, I think they'll save a tiny bit of space if they go with a single box, and so that would be my preference. They showed off some of the completed artwork for a few weapons and pieces of equipment. They made final tweaks to the miniature files last week. One notable change was the pose of the Marauder, whose bottom fist is now closed. 6 9x9 double-sided tiles have been added back to the World Killer expansion. Final word on translations is that German and French backers can purchase the translation add-on, while Italian and Spanish backers just didn't have the needed numbers and will have to make do with the PDF of the cards and books. The projected timeline remains along the same lines, with deliveries beginning in May or June of next year. In League of Dungeoneers news, the sub-supplier for ShipQuest in the US is no longer available, and the only other option was too expensive. Michael is working on finding a better solution, and US backers should hold off trying to pay shipping just yet. All other backers should see shipping charges appearing on the PM. We'll hear more about the US shipping next week. Kingdoms Forlorn has brought us, well, it's not the big fall update yet, but that's still coming. ATO fulfillment is their primary focus for now. Backers of that project should be receiving address confirmations very soon. The team at ITU is expanding to tackle Kingdoms Forlorn. The latest round of recruitment is focused on testers for the game, and some seasoned grads from the ITU School of Design to bolster the dev team. We've got a tiny tease about the deep fog that acts as a quest timer, but also in many ways a character or adversary. In Delves, you're now able to venture through the fog as a shortcut, but that shortcut comes at a cost. They provide a short spotlight for the Swallowed Halls, who some say is a trap ready to swallow adventurers, and others say contains a church blessed by the Saint Eudes, who may have left behind a holy relic of power. We got some updated squire artwork with short descriptions of the squires and their mannerisms. Finally, they're showing off some of the new artwork for the First Men BP3 cards. So towards the end of November, we'll have a huge fall update coming. Perhaps that one will get a video all unto itself. Legendary Kingdoms has released a new PDF for the Pirates of the Splintered Isles with corrections from the first release. You can check out the update to see the full list of corrections if you'd like. Final Girl Series 2 has some great production updates this week. Production is in progress, but the completion date has slipped a little. They're still on track for Q1 2023 delivery, though. They are currently ramping up Series 2 Gruesome Deaths book writing now. These will be available around the time of fulfillment on their website as PDFs. For Wave 1 shipping, in the UK, the shipment is cleared customs, and shipping will begin around December 1st. In the EU, shipping should start this week. Please remember you can check Gamefound to see if you have single wave or two-wave shipping. If you have single wave shipping, you will not receive anything until next year. Dungeons of Doria has doubled the amount of character sheets in the box, so now you'll have 40 campaign sheets and 160 character sheets. Each side of the character sheet is different, so you can choose the one you prefer, or use both sides to get the full 160 sheets. Dungeons of Doria will be demoing at a convention outside Frankfurt next weekend for anyone in that area. The name of the convention is on the screen, so I don't butcher it trying to pronounce it. In Skyrise news, the digital proofs for the 3D print and tray components have been received. They're waiting on the physical proof for the tray before revealing it, but it's looking promising. Wash results are also in, but they're still working on perfecting the results. Frosthaven fulfillment is well underway, and the first copies are reaching backers. Europe and the rest of the world fulfillment has officially begun now. The vessels are at sea with a port date in Hamburg around December 1st. The first container is on its way to Australia now. 4 more containers have been booked. For Asia, shipping to VFI Asia has also begun. In the UK, bookings are finalized and the containers should be moving soon. They'll update more about this once there's something to be told. For North American fulfillment, they're officially 1 week in and packages are beginning to be processed next week for Canada. This week we have the latest update from Dungeon Crusade packed with great information. The biggest news is up top. The game will begin printing at the end of this month. They shared a short video from one of the initial print runs, and they'll be showing more when this run commences. This is an exciting milestone, but it isn't the end for Dungeon Crusade and the world of Avalon that Rogers built. He's working on 2 new game modes for Dungeon Crusade and a smaller game based on a particular location in Avalon. The project manager for Dungeon Crusade will close in early December. We should get fair warning before it closes for good. There have been several new additions to the Dungeon Crusade Showcase series on the Groovis Games channel, and an aspiring filmmaker, Ross Yates, is doing a college project on Dungeon Crusade, and that will be shared at a later date. Frostpunk is finally beginning their deliveries. Packages in Australia are being delivered now. Packages for Asia should be delivered inside of November. For Europe, the US, and Canada, the containers have reached the logistics partner and are being processed. US and Canada parcels will be sent FedEx airmail. For Europe, their containers got stuck at customs and will still most likely make it out in November. The language versions will set to sea on November the 16th. The Helper app English version should launch in December. A card template is now available for anyone wishing to make their own content. A repackaging tutorial is posted that should help get everything back in its place. In retail news, we have a few interesting things hitting shelves. First up, 2 new standalone core sets for Dark Souls have been released and added to the Steam Forged web store. The Painted World of Aramis and the Tomb of Giants use a new, revised set of rules that's been tweaked to remove some of the existing problems with the game and was created based off community feedback. This new rule set will be made available for everyone, and the new core sets are compatible with all other Dark Souls content. Each core set is $110. Atomic Mass Games has announced a new Star Wars miniatures game, Star Wars Shatterpoint. This will be a squad-based miniature skirmish game. The game is said to be similar in style to Marvel Crisis Protocol and is set to arrive in the summer of 2023. Fans of Star Wars Legions have drawn battle lines. Many are mad that they're releasing yet another Star Wars title when so much support is still needed for Star Wars Legion. Also, this will use a different scale of miniatures, so nothing is cross-compatible. Speaking of Star Wars Legion, the Mandalorian Din Djarin and the IG droids have finally hit shelves. If you're looking to pick these up, please consider using one of the links in the video description. They're affiliate links for Amazon, and anything you buy after clicking the link will help support the channel with no cost to you. Star Wars Legion will also be receiving the Crashed X-Wings Battlefields expansion soon. This pack comes with some awesome terrain pieces and an exclusive miniature. AMG has released the Sabretooth character card and rules for the upcoming Weapon X program box. Sabretooth has some amazing abilities such as Bloodthirsty Onset, Primal Pounce, and Stop Squealing and Die. Finally this week, we saw 3 Marvel Champions release: the Wolverine Hero Pack, the Storm Hero Pack, and the Mojo Mania Scenario Pack. This week was a little lighter on news, but still plenty happening in the space. There are more great campaigns just around the corner, and Black Friday is coming with tons of great deals. I'll be back tomorrow with a campaign guide and later in the week with even more. I'm currently dealing with a family emergency, so if you need to get a hold of me, direct messages on Discord or email to the address in the video descriptions are the best way to get my attention. Thanks to everyone watching and commenting. Have a great week, and don't work too hard.